All right.
The New York Islander pregame show is sponsored in part by Long Island Trust and by Getty Unleaded Plus. Take your cap off to Getty.
Tonight from the Nassau Coliseum, Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final 1983. The New York Islanders leading the Edmonton Oilers 3-0. Not too many people thought the series would be this way, but you have to look back over what's happened in 4 years for the New York Islanders. They've lost only 3 Stanley Cup Final games. Go back to 1980. They defeated Philadelphia in 6 games. The following year, it took 5 games to eliminate the Minnesota North Stars. Last season, they swept by Vancouver in 4 straight, and they have the opportunity to do that tonight. The champagne is not on ice, however, in the Islander dressing room at this point. The Stanley Cup is here in preparation. Now for a preview of what else is coming up in the pregame show, here's Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Jiggs. On tonight's gossip, I'll tell you about jockeying for the Pittsburgh Penguins general manager's job, and I'll have an exclusive report on the coaching spot that Don Cherry rejected. My special guest will be a Long Island resident who played on Toronto's last Stanley Cup winners in 1967, Pete Stemkowski. And now to Eddie Westfall.
Thank you, Stan. In my segment of the Islander pregame show, we're going to look at the last game that these two teams, the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders, played. Of course, we know that the Islanders defeated Edmonton. I'm going to show you how it was done. Now let's go down and join Jiggs McDonald and his special guest, Randy Gregg.
Thanks, Eddie. When the New York Islanders pregame show continues, we'll check in with this man. He's the doctor with the Edmonton Oilers. We'll also check in at Dr. Generosity's. But first, we pause for this message. And the answer to our quiz, the Montreal Canadiens. And, of course, the Islanders and Canadiens haven't met one another in recent years, Canadiens having been shuttled to the side. Randy Gregg, Dr. Gregg, if you will, of the Edmonton Oilers. Let's get the doctor's interpretation of what's been happening to the Oilers over the first 3 games.
Well, I think we've had some unfortunate luck, and although we've played very well during parts of both Game 1 and Game 3, we haven't put together a solid 60-minute effort. I think we're looking forward to doing that tonight, and I think we can try to change the series around that way.
The score is obviously different at least from the Chicago series, the series with Winnipeg and Calgary. What has been the biggest difference or the biggest letdown that you've noticed with your team?
Well, again, I think that with the injuries that the Islander defense have, the opportunities that we can get to score goals will be coming from forechecking very offensively and aggressively in their end. And when we do that, we seem to be very effective against them. But again, in both games, we've had lapses, and that's something that we've worked on in practice, and we're going to have to change. We'll have to put more aggressive forechecking on their defensemen and try to create opportunities to score goals.
I think back to the game Saturday night, an excellent first period, yet you went to the dressing room down 1-0. That had to be very disappointing.
Well, it is a little disappointing, especially for our team that's used to scoring so many goals during the year. But again, we have confidence in our dressing room. We feel that if we can turn it around and start to score more goals, we can be successful.
I referred to you as Dr. Gregg, and I'm not kidding. Randy has done everything a man has to do to have the title and, of course, the degree to go with it. Will you be practicing medicine along with hockey?
Well, I think that's a little bit too difficult. During the summertime, I'll try to be incorporating a little bit of medicine in one of the hospitals in Edmonton, but until my hockey career has ended, I won't go into a residency program as such.
You, of course, captained the Canadian Olympic team in 1980, but there was also some hockey experience in Japan. How did that come about?
Well, following the Olympics, I was quite interested in staying amateur, possibly for the '84 Olympics in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia, and had the opportunity to go to Japan for 2 years, and it was great. Turned out very well.
Well, and here you are in the Stanley Cup Finals. I thank you for stopping by, Randy. I'm going to check in with another doctor. Neighborhood watering hole, as we call it in Westbury. Over to Richie Powers at Dr. Generosity's.
And it is Dr. Generosity. You know what? It's probably noisier here than it is at Nassau Coliseum. And I've also heard, the reason why I'm here is because I heard that the more knowledgeable hockey fans are in here, not at the Coliseum. What do you think they're doing tonight? Are they going to win it or what?
I'm not kidding. 4 in a row. 4 in a row.
Did you expect them to win 4 in a row?
Not in the beginning of the season, but now they really do.
You were one of the guys who were down on them, I heard.
No.
No, how about you? Did you think they were going to do it?
Oh, yes, for sure. Definitely.
You're the hockey expert. That's all you got to say.
Will not be denied tonight.
You're the guy that wanted to talk, and that's all you got to say, right?
Okay, yeah.
What about you, young lady?
They work well under pressure, no doubt in my mind.
Who's going to be the most valuable player?
Bobby Nystrom.
Bobby Nystrom. There's a name for Bobby Nystrom. Okay, let's hear from a real hockey expert now, Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Richie. On the upcoming gossip, I'll tell you why Coach Orville Tessier is on the hot seat in Chicago after this message. Seems like a long, long time ago, 1977-78. They lost the quarterfinal series to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the guy who did them in won, Lanny McDonald. And now
We'll take you to the highlights of Game 3. The first period, a tremendous hockey period like so many of them have been amongst the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders. Look at Bossy as he clears the puck in behind Billy Smith. Look at Ken Morrow sacrifices. He goes down and blocks the shot, clears the puck out into center ice, and away goes Bossy. He takes the shot, but watch Kaller on the rebound between the legs of Andy Moog. 1941, the period was almost over when Kaller gets his third goal of the season from Bossy and Morrow, right from the face-off in the second period. It was a pretty hot period. Gary Curry, look at the shot. Stephon Pearson trying to be a goaltender in behind Billy Smith, unsuccessful. The game is tied at 1 apiece at 1:05 of the second period. Edmonton outshot the Islanders 15-5 in the second period. They also outshot them in the first period. Here's a shot from the point by Stephon Pearson. Look at Dave Langevin, run interference in front. Bob Bourne slides the puck into the net. Bourne continues his hot streak. His 8th goal of the playoffs from Pearson and Langevin made it 2-1 at 5:11 of the third period. And it was a away goal the New York Islanders. Look at the work along the boards here as the Islanders shake it loose. Brian Trottier played his finest game in the playoffs. Look at Bossy as he holds onto the blue line to keep from going offside. Here's the wrist shot by Ken Morrow. Moog made a bad move on it. He didn't get to the puck. Obviously, it's a bad move. But a long shot, a wrist shot from the blue line by Morrow made it 3-1. His 4th goal of the playoffs from Trottier and Andy Kaller, 6:21. And then the Sutter brothers. Have they done damage? Have they done it to every team in the playoffs? And they continue to do it to the Edmonton Oilers. There's the puck cleared across the boards. Here's Bourne. Watch the speed of Bourne outside. Lee Fogelin. Fogelin tries to use the stick, but not to be. His legs are faster than the stick. There's the pass in front. Brent Sutter. Dwayne gets the rebound, and it's in behind Andy Moog. And the Islanders continue to dominate the third period. 4-1 the score now. 16:43. Dwayne Sutter's 9th goal of the season. And then to complete the brother act, let's take a look as Brent Sutter gets his 10th goal of the season. Fine shot by Dennis Potvin. Brent Sutter just tipped the skate, just turned it in the right direction. Now, if the referee anticipated that the right way, the referee could say it was deliberately guided into the net, but of course he didn't see it that way, and Brent Sutter got his 10th goal. That made it 5-1. Now let's go down and rejoin Stan Fischler.
Thank you, Eddie. My guest will be a man with an X-ray eye when it comes to examining the playoffs, the one and only Polish prince, Peter Stemkowski, right after this message. The king of Kilbasi, Peter Stemkowski. Peter, what does Edmonton have to do to get back in this series? Well, number one, Stan, I think that they're going to have to start believing in the fact that they can beat the Islanders. The many times that they've played through the Stanley Cup here and through the regular season, they've had very poor success against the Islanders. So I think that they're going to have to start believing in the fact that they can win some hockey games. And this is a young club, a club that makes mistakes. This is a club that has made a lot of mistakes inside their own zone. And you get a club like the Islanders that have so much poise and so much confidence and so much experience that they're able to take advantage of a lot of those mistakes. I really think that so far in this series, that first game, Billy Smith came out with an outstanding effort. I think the Oilers could have won that game. I think the other night here at the Coliseum, Saturday night, in that first period, the Oilers really tested Smitty. Gretzky had a couple of good chances, and there was a crossbar. And you get some of those that are going in behind Smitty. I think this would really give the Oilers really a shot in the arm. And if I was Glenn Sather, I would stick with Moog. You've had confidence with him up till now. Why not stick with him?
Peter, thanks very much. We called you the King of Kilbasi. There's some Kilbasi for you now to Jiggs McDonald.
Put another pound on Peter. I'll tell you, I don't think you're going to see the goaltending change, and I don't think you'll see any other changes. But when Eddie and I return, we'll take a look at some of the players to watch for in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. We'll be back right after these messages. Strange but true, we're in it right here this season, this playoff year. The Islanders have not played a playoff game to this point. Well, they're up against a tough Edmonton Oilers team. The series, like Pete Stemkowski said, is not over yet. You still have to win Game 4. The Islanders don't want to go back to Edmonton. The Oilers do want to go back and be forced to play even more games.
I would expect that, Jiggs, but you know, it really is all in the hands of the Islanders. If the Islanders want it bad enough and they play the kind of hockey that they've played up to date, there's no reason that the team should go back. Or at least Edmonton definitely will be going back to Edmonton, but I don't see the Islanders going. The only way that would happen is if the Islanders got careless and they started to make some mistakes, and Billy Smith was unable to stop the number of stops that he's been able to make so far.
There's been some speculation that Glenn Sather may make changes, not in goal, but may move some people around, change some people. But I don't think you'll see him change the Gretzky-Curry combination. Granted, it hasn't clicked. Curry has a couple of goals, Gretzky a couple of assists. But Jari Kurri seems to really complement Gretzky's play.
He does, Jiggs, because he can play left and right wing. He can roam around the ice and still be a positive player. Without the puck, he's still very effective. He's got 2 goals against the Islanders and leads Edmonton, believe it or not, with the 2 goals. But he's a very versatile player and one that has complemented Gretzky through the last couple of seasons.
And only turned 23 this week, so he's going to be around the National Hockey League for a while. The man they acquired in the offseason via Hartford, Ken Linsman, hasn't had a very productive season, or series at least, against the Islanders.
He hasn't, Jiggs. He played better, of course, against Winnipeg, and he played a little better against Chicago, but against the Islanders, he's done absolutely nothing. He's tried to antagonize the Islanders at times, but they don't fall for that. The Islanders are too rich in time in playoff hockey to let someone like Ken Linsman get to them. So his effectiveness has been really deleted. He hasn't handled the puck well because he hasn't had it that much, and he hasn't shot the puck well. He hasn't skated well. I just think he's been a disappointment to the Edmonton hockey team.
And really, you have to look at those two, plus their defense and the goaltending, and Gretzky. I guess really you have to look at a lot of people, maybe the whole team, but they in particular, the ones that we just mentioned, they have to be the catalyst to get something going tonight in Game 4. You know the Islanders are going to be trying to shut down Gretzky, and if they're successful, as they have been in the first 3, then a guy like Linsman has to bust out. And if you're going back with the Edmonton Oilers, you know that you're going to face some criticism. And they're also going to be looking at the people from just down the road. The kids from Viking, Alberta, they have had themselves one heck of a series. I refer to Dwayne and Brent Sutter.
They won't be welcome again, of course, in Edmonton all summer long if they go home for the summer. There's Dwayne Sutter. Now, if you look at the Sutters, they look alike, they play alike, and they have been extremely successful against the Edmonton Oilers.